Welcome back to State of the Nation. I'm Tom Harwood. And now, before we go to anything else, let's head back to that spin room as Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer are gearing up for their big TV debate tonight. Of course, with us is Christopher Hope, our very own political editor. And Christopher, you're with a cabinet minister.
Yeah. Hi Tom, thank you. I'm here in the spin room in the home of Coronation Street for head of the debate today. I'm joined by Victoria Atkins, the Cabinet Minister. Victoria Atkins, thank you for joining us on GBNews. You met with Jonathan Ashworth, he's on the channel here an hour ago. You had a bit of words with him. What was that about?
Well, he was being a typical Labour boy. We keep hearing about the Labour Boys Club surrounding Sir Keir, and he was shouting in a way that I think he was trying to distract me from the interview I was doing. But he should never have made that mistake, and in fairness, he apologised.
You gave him what for?
Well, again, it's all about discipline. We have to make sure that these male politicians behave themselves.
Now, your guy, Rishi Sunak, he's challenged Sir Keir Starmer to 6 debates over the course of this campaign. There's 2 of them, BBC and ITV. Rishi Sunak's got a lot to do, hasn't he? I mean, you're miles behind the polls. If you were with him now, if I was him, what would you be advising him?
Well, I wouldn't advise him at all, because I think he will come across really well in this debate. The Rishi Sunak I know is an incredibly warm person, a lovely, lovely man, great sense of humour, but also a seriousness. He takes his responsibilities as a Prime Minister incredibly seriously. He works his socks off for us, and he's got real excitement and energy about the policies that we're putting forward for the future of our great country. So I will be cheering him on, and I've no doubt that he's really, really going to knock it out of the park.
He gets in trouble in debates. He was accused of mansplaining to Liz Truss. He interrupted, I think, a dozen times in 20 minutes. He wants to get his points across, but how does he do that without interrupting Sir Keir Starmer?
Well, again, it shows how much he has to contribute, and also his wish to get his ideas across. So he will be, he's more than capable. He'll do a great job of handling Sir Keir Starmer, because he does this every week in PMQs. But interestingly, what's going to be, I'm going to be paying great attention to, is how Sir Keir Starmer it really handles the pressure that he will face. There are some very, very big questions for him to answer. It's not good enough to liken, governing our country to walking across a floor with a big vase. It is much, much more complicated, much more serious than that. And I think the Labour Party have got to get more serious and explain how the thinking behind some of their ideas.
And that vase is the poll lead, which has been set around 20 points for a while now. I suppose what you mean is that Sir Keir Starmer normally asks Rishi Sunak the questions at the weekly Prime Minister's questions, and now it's a chance for him to be putting the pressure himself. That doesn't happen a lot in public.
No, it doesn't. And he's used to being the prosecutor. I am a barrister as well, and my question to Sir Keir Starmer would be, what is the evidence for your Damascene conversion to the cause of tackling immigration, for example? He and his party voted against our measures to tackle illegal immigration more than 100 times. Suddenly, he's woken up to the issue of immigration. And what is more, he's using policies that we already have in play. So he's got to show the thinking and the substance behind some of these ideas. The truth is, the reason he hasn't explained this is because he has no plan. And when we look at their refusal to follow our lead and bring in the triple lock plus, which is ensuring that basic state pensions never ever have to pay income tax because we raise their threshold, Labour have refused to follow that. We've asked them the straight question, are you going to raid people's workplace pensions to pay for your, goodness knows, £38 billion black hole? They refuse to answer that. And we know, we as Conservatives, it is in our DNA to want to cut taxes. We also understand that we can't pass our debts on to our children and grandchildren. That is not in the Labour Party's DNA, and we know that a vote for Keir Starmer is a vote for higher taxes and higher immigration.
But the polls aren't moving. I mean, as my colleague Tom Harwood is saying repeatedly, people aren't listening to what you're saying. That's your problem.
Well, I think they are, actually. And there have been times in the past where the polls haven't been in step with where the British public were. And we absolutely have the energy and the determination to go out and secure every single vote we can. I've got Conservative friends and candidates across the country working every hour to get votes out, because we don't take the British public for granted. Whereas Labour, I think, have slipped into complacency and arrogance when it comes to the result results of this election. And the great British public shows time and time again they will not be taken for granted.
There's another MRP poll out tonight, a mega poll giving Labour well over 400 MPs after the election. Do you think at some point you might regret calling the election right now?
I think this election has ensured that we have a clear choice between the policies and the people that will be in power on the 5th of July. The choice is stark. A vote for anyone other than the Conservatives will mean that Keir Starmer is walking through that big black door. That includes a vote for reform. And so if you want Rishi Sunak as your Prime Minister, you've got to vote Conservative.
Just quickly draw back the curtain on the preparations the PM is taking part in. You apparently Oliver Dowden stood in for Keir Starmer. Is that right? Were you part of them?
I haven't been. As you'll appreciate, as Health Secretary, there's an awful lot for me to do in the Health Department, so I've been concentrating on that today.
But he can do it, can he? He's got, what are the odds on him triumphing tonight?
I think I'm not a betting person, but I have everything. I've got my complete faith and all of my confidence and everything in him. I think Rishi's going to knock it out of the park, and I think the choice for the British public is becoming clearer, and it will be by the 4th of July. It's going to be absolutely clear. Do we want to wake up to a country where a Labour administration will raise our taxes, will see higher immigration, or do we want a Conservative government continuing to cut taxes, cut immigration, but also do all the policies that we have for a brighter future for this great country?
Victoria Atkins, thank you for joining us tonight on GB News. And there you had an increasingly noisy and tense spin room here at the home of Coronation Street. We wait shortly for the debate at 9 o'clock. Back to you, Tom.
Things are gearing up. Well, Christopher Hope, we will be, of course, catching up with you in the spin room after everything has happened. But we should hear now from Pat McFadden, Labour's national campaign coordinator. He's been talking ahead of the debate this evening, saying that the choice at this election is simple. 5 more years of chaos with the Conservatives or change with the Labour Party. Now, he says tonight the British people will have a chance to see the choice firsthand between a desperate Rishi Sunak, whose scattergun approach has shredded his economic credibility, or Keir Starmer, who has changed the Labour Party and is offering a credible plan to change Britain. See if you can spot all of those political slogans squeezed in there.